Hey, how are you guys doing? This is Dawnna St. Louis coming live. I'm back home. I'm getting ready to head out of town. Tomorrow I'm heading up to Orlando, and then from there I'll be over in San Francisco. Then from there I'll be in, I think, DC. And then from there I will be in, I think, Chicago. I don't know. I'm having a hard time stringing all the dates together, but it's working. So this was actually a really good question that someone had asked me a few years ago, and I was sharing it with them yesterday when I was on stage, and I thought I would share it with you guys because it seemed to be really, really impactful. So one of the things that I always talk to people about is, what's up, Jeff? How are you doing, sweetie? And if you guys come on, give me a shout out. Let me know where you are. Give me a little love so that way I can recognize when you come on. So one of the questions that people ask me about all the time and that I talk about regularly is stepping into your own picture rather than the picture that someone created for you. So many of you, many people who watch this, they know my story that when I was 19 years old, that I was homeless. I lived in my car for about 6 months. And that came about because when I was in high school, a high school guidance counselor actually suggested that I either go to the military, that I get in my car and drive I-95 north and get out of the state of Florida, or that I take a bottle of codeine pills and kill myself. But at the end of the day, the picture that he had painted for me was that I was going to be a burden on society, that I was going to be on drugs, that I was going to have 5 children, 3 of them who were going to end up in jail. 1 was dead and 1 was going to follow in my footsteps. So they had painted a picture based on government statistics, and that picture was the path that I was supposed to walk in my life. That's what I was supposed to do. And I just imagine if I had decided to walk in that picture, that I had decided to step into that picture and walk that picture from my life. And I chose obviously a different path, right? This guy said I was going to end up on drugs, which is really funny because I don't even drink. And I've never taken a drug in my life. It's hard to get me to take aspirin, right? So that I was going to have 5 children, 3 of whom were going to be in jail. I only have 2 sons. One is an airplane engineer and the other one is in college, right? So all these things that, someone had laid out this picture for me, this path that I was supposed to follow, and I didn't follow that path. He said I was going to be a drain on society, and here, I was COO of a business intelligence company. So all these things that they had created this picture, this path that I was supposed to be in, and I had a choice. I made a choice. There was a fork in the road. Do I walk the path that I was supposed to walk, the likely path, the path of being homeless, being a mother of 5, 3 of whom are in jail, 1 of whom's dead, 1 of who follows in my footsteps? So am I supposed to be a drug addicted mother with 5 children living on government assistance, going in and out of jail? Am I supposed to do that? And walk their path and their picture because that's the one that laid out? Or am I supposed to create my own? And so someone asked me during my career, doing all this time coming up, who gave me the best advice and what was that advice? And here's the thing. I think that quite often people do give you great advice, but I think for the most part that what happens is people go and we look to all these external people, right? And we look at their success and their path, and then we try to make our path follow their path, right? So we're not blazing our own trail. We're following their path. And so, yeah, you see people all the time. What's the best advice from Warren Buffett? What's the best advice from Bill Gates? What's the best advice, from Oprah Winfrey? And we always look to all these external people for their best advice. But I'm going to tell you where to get your best advice from. And it's going to be from someone who knows your journey and your path better than anyone in the world. So here's the question. And if you have a moment, if you have a second, just take a piece of paper and write this down. I would love if you would share this with everyone that you can think of, because this one thing that I did and this one piece of advice that I take, and it's the one piece of advice that not only did I take then, it's an exercise that I still do today, and it makes all the difference in the world. So I really want you just to take a moment, and I want you to write down on a piece of paper, I want you to do this. So when that guidance counselor had offered me the ability to basically go to the military, get out of town, or kill myself, because if I didn't do any of those, I was going to be on this other path, I did something very, very, very unique. So I sat there and let me think. Celebrity service is your future. It's right in front of your face. Some crazy woman mentioned that to you. Yeah, I think that crazy woman did, because I saw your future when you couldn't. That's right, Jeff. So I could see your future clearly. So here's the question. And you know what? It's great. Jeff, I'm going to talk about that because that's really important. So here's the first thing I want you to do, because sometimes you're not able to do this, but if you are, just give it a shot. I don't want you to ask somebody what's the best advice that they have from their career for you. No. I want you to first answer this question. When you look at yourself in 10 years, I want you to tell me exactly what that picture looks like. If you're a speaker, what stage are you on? Even if you don't know what you're talking about, take a guess. What is the thing that you could be talking about? What is the audience? How much are you getting paid? What's going on? What's the difference? How are you getting those engagements? And I want you to think about that speaker, that person, whoever, that entrepreneur, that business person, 10 years from now. I want you to think about you, right? So this is 2017. I want you to think about you in 2027. And I want you to sit here right now, and I want you to ask that person in 2027, what's the best advice that they could give you now? See, everybody always says, what's the advice that you would give your younger self? No, because you're not your younger self anymore. I want you to ask your future self, what's the best advice that you could give me right now? Right now. You know what my best advice? So Anna, I want you to ask that woman, that top international female motivational speaker who's standing on that stage in front of thousands of people, that woman who does not have to beg for her rate, that woman, I want you to ask her, what is the advice that you would give me today? See, everybody's always talking about what's the advice that I would give my younger self. I'm not my younger self. I'm today. So I need to ask my future self, what advice should she give me? Now, I do this on a regular basis, and I know you guys are going, okay, so Dawnna is actually crazy. But let me tell you why it works. When I ask my future self, I'm like, what is it that I need to be doing right now? My future self said, you know what? You need to make a choice. You need to be clear. You need to be consistent. Make a choice, be clear, be consistent. My future self already knows the path. She's going to advise me better than anyone else. Now, if you don't have that, if you can't do that for yourself, if you can't do that, what you want to do is you want to go to the next level. If you can't do this for yourself, go to the next level. Get a friend. I was Jeff Ram's friend. I was sitting at my computer. We were on Skype. He would tell you the story. He'll probably do a live stream and tell you the story 1,000 times. So I am going to channel Jeff right now. We were on a live stream, and Jeff was talking about marketing. And don't get me wrong, Jeff is great on marketing. I'm not questioning that. But he had this thing called celebrity service. And I'm not kidding you when I would tell you it was like a blip. It was like this tiny little blip in the back of the scene. And I watched his videos, and every time I watched his videos, I'm like, dude, the celebrity service shit is hot, right? Like, I was just like, and anytime I thought about him as a speaker, and mind you, the first time I saw Jeff Ram speak live was doing marketing. And don't get me wrong, it was brilliant, but it wasn't Jeff Ram. It was a regurgitation of information. It wasn't Jeff. It was Jeff's content. I'm not saying he stole content. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that it wasn't so uniquely Jeff Ram that I couldn't have seen it or heard it somewhere else. It wasn't all him. But the celebrity service thing. And when I sit there and I talk to him, I would always see the guy in the future. And the guy in the future was on stages around the world. And that guy was talking about celebrity service. And I would always see that guy. See, Jeff was unable to ask that guy in the future what he should be doing, but I could. And I told him in a very nice but moderately threatening fashion, I said, Jeff, if you don't do celebrity service, I will come to England, track you down, and like take you out. Because seriously, celebrity service is it. It is so different. It is so unique. It is so uniquely yours. You're so passionate about it. And when you deliver on it, it's like no one else I've ever seen, ever on stage in my life, ever. And I'm like, please do celebrity service. And I don't care if you ever do marketing in, just do that, because I see that so clearly in your future. And I remember asking him, can you see that? Do you see it? And it was like at that moment, he was just like, okay, since there are threats involved, I think I'll go do it. And I think the number he used was something like 60 or 70 or 80% of his speaking business today is celebrity service. See, it's not about the best advice that I could give Jeff based on my history. It was the best advice I could give Jeff based on seeing where he'd be in the future. Stop looking backwards to figure out where you should be today. Start looking forward and asking your future self what you need to do now. Ask your future success story what you need to be doing today. And if you can't do it, ask someone else literally to sit across from you and ask where they see you in the future, and then ask them to give you advice on what you should be doing today. Stop looking in the past to change your future. Look in the future to change your current situation. It will change everything about what you do. Don't look backwards. Look forward. Ask your future self to help you. That's where your best advice comes from. I would be so honored if you would share this video with as many people as you can possibly. It would mean the world to me, because this is something I can go right now and I can scroll through my Facebook feed and I see all these people talking about, what does Warren Buffett's advice? What would you tell your future self? 2 words on what you would tell your younger self. 2 words on, no, I don't need 2 words on what I would tell my former self. I need 2 words from my future to tell me how to make that trek towards success. I did it when I was 19 years old. When that man said to me, you're going to be a drug-addicted mother of 5, I had to make a choice. And I painted a different future for myself. And then I asked my future self, what would you do? My future self said, well, you don't want to go to the military. You don't want to take a bottle of codeine tablets and kill yourself right now. So you know what? Take the $25 and take the biggest risk of your life and get out of here. Now, some people go, yeah, but Dawnna, you ended up homeless. Probably the best thing that I ever did was ended up sleeping in my car for 6 months. Probably the best thing I ever did. Why? Because it taught me something about myself, that I could survive anything. So what is your future self? What advice would your future self give you? Do that. And thank you, Nicole, for sharing. Thank you so much. Thank you guys for sharing. It means so much. My name is Dawnna St. Louis. And if you want to do, the other thing is, what advice would your future self give you? What would your future self tell you to do today in order to make it to a successful future? How are you going to get there? Your future self already knows. You just have to ask them. Hey, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know I've been off for a little bit, and trust me, it's only because I've been working like a mad woman. I mean, right now, if you go to createkickasscopy.com, you'll see that the Kick-Ass Copywriting class is up and running. People have asked me thousands of times, how do I do it? I'm now sharing it with people. There are webinars out there. There's stuff you can learn. So I've been really busy, and I have this huge negotiating thing coming up. So it's been really, really busy. So I'm not ignoring you. I've just been kind of psycho. But I will make a concerted effort to come on regularly, at least on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Tomorrow, I'll be in the car, so maybe I can hit you guys up from the car. Anyway, it was so good to see you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.